Thank you. And Banks Peninsula, Cam.
Vicky, it is very difficult to hear this morning. I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older, but all of the speakers this morning, it's been quite difficult to hear them speaking.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad thing because
you
can't hear terribly well back here.
Right. Okay. So we'll talk loudly. Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Can
I just sit there in front of the light? The words that are on there.
This is on page 5 of your reports, guys.
Where has winter gone? But this morning we have got it's a report with lots of things that have gone on over the last month and a variety of issues, but no Part A's in it. So I want to bring up this morning and just highlight some things. The Wāharoa Restoration of Whakaraupo, Ākaroa Wharf, Armistice Day 100th Anniversary, and the Cemetery Working Group, and the Ākaroa Service Centre. So if we start with the Wāharoa Restoration in the Whakaraupo Cultural Reserve, it's quite a challenging heading there. But this is an amazing project that goes back some time. It's a partnership with the Department of Corrections to restore a carved Wāharoa. Now the Wāharoa is that up there that's it's got two things on the side of it, and then over the top is a plank that sort of provides a roof to it. But it's an amazing carving. The original Wāharoa was created as part of the Turning Point 2000 Canterbury Waitaha events to celebrate the millennium. So there was one there, but it was deteriorating, in disrepair. So this has been repaired over the last 3 or 4 years, and it was rededicated on the 26th of July. But the important part about it was that it was done with the prisoner Department of Corrections, who worked on this many thousands of hours to do it, and who is very proud of his work that he's done. Now that is an entrance to a cultural garden, and it contains plants of cultural value, particularly medicinal plants. And back in 2000, when this was originally put in, the gardens itself, there was nothing there. So in 20 years, the gardens have absolutely flourished. Was planted by the community with land care assistance, and Anne Jolliffe has been involved throughout this long period of time. So it's great to see that come to fruition. So the next one is the Ākaroa Wharf. Now the Ākaroa Wharf features in a lot of photographs, as you can see there, beautiful part, a historic wharf and things, but we have a few issues around it, that everybody wants to be on it at the same time, and that we have also got commercial users, recreational users, and the public using it. So there's been few issues with things on it that shouldn't be there. So we've been having a bit of a tidy up, and there's been fish crates and things that we've been asked to remove from it. And we're also implementing some smoke-free signage in preparation for the cruise ship season. Historically, tourists get off the boat and they light up immediately, so we would just like to encourage them to walk across the wharf safely and not light up as soon as they get off it. So we're looking at also smoke-free signs around the other areas of the town as well. So that was really triggered by a recent highlighting of it through your council process, and we looked at what we had in Ākaroa and where we should implement that. The next one is about Armistice Day, the 100th anniversary. Now this beautiful war memorial is owned by the community. It's one of a few in New Zealand. It's managed by a particular committee, a war memorial committee of dedicated people. We have restored it, and it cost about $900,000 to repair it following the earthquakes. We found the funding ourselves and did that repair with the project manager. And so Armistice Days is coming up on the 11th in November, and they asked us for some funding, and we have provided them with some funding, and we've also written, we've provided them with $1,000 or $1,500, and we're underwriting it for a further $1,000 to have that particular ceremony. But if you're coming to Ākaroa, have a look at it. It is the centre of the town, magnificent, maintained beautifully to botanical garden standards. It's just an amazing setting in the town. And this is a good story as well. This is, you know, we listen to the radio at the moment, and there are so many poor stories about the council, and I feel like hiding under the table. This is one of those stories where we had a lot of trouble of getting this group over the line. They were continually dissatisfied with what was going on, and suddenly something happened, and we found the right people for that team to work with in council. And they now have got a sound working relationship between the Christchurch City Council and the community. Just how they should be happening, each respecting each other and getting on with the job. And they've had a couple of working bees already. It is an old cemetery. There are 86 identified broken headstones for repair and restoration, not owned by families now because those families are well gone. But it may cost about $30,000 to repair a headstone. And they're also planning for a memorial entrance. And are going for council consent. So that's a good story, a great story about another partnership that has just gone so well from a from a disgruntled group to something that's positive and a good story to tell. And the last one is reopening of the service centre, Ākaroa Service Centre. Now this is an amazing story too. We're going to get our service centre back for us. So this is out of the former Ākaroa Post Office. It was built in 1914. And is a replacement of an earlier building built in 1856. So it's just a large domestic building, but the interior still has original decorative plaster and mouldings and plaster on the walls, and it's got a polished wall or polished architraves, windows and door frames. So it is a magnificent old building, just alongside the War Memorial. The War Memorial's on the left. Over the other side of the road is the museum and the old bank building. So it's the centre of Ākaroa, and we're just so proud of that area. The service centre moves back to it on tomorrow, the 3rd, and the opening ceremony is on the 8th of August from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So there are some businesses that will go into that building. Ākaroa District Promotions, I think, is going into one of the rooms. Civil Defence, our local Civil Defence team in Ākaroa might have some space there as well. And New Zealand Post are just working through the proposal at the moment to go into the right-hand side there, on the right house, in the middle of the building. But the colours look a bit different, but they are based on the colours that the building was early on, painted earlier on. So it's got a clock there in the middle up the steps there, an old clock that has been nurtured and managed over the years and is back up and ticking away. So we're very pleased to have our service centre opened again, and it has some new great modern facilities, and that hope I won't have to drive to town. Council staff mightn't have to drive out to Ākaroa either. They'll just link up and meet with us as appropriate. So we look forward to using it and having our first meeting in there later in the year. So that's the highlights that just a few things that we've picked out. Everything, of course, is important in this, and our community is well and involved in our events. But I just love the community to hear the lovely stories that we do hear at these mornings that come, and we should be looking at how we can get our community involved in some of these things that are going on.
Thanks very much, Pam. Is there any questions, Glenn?
Thank you. Just over 8.3, Pam's smoke-free. Ākaroa, our smoke-free and public places policy already includes the precincts around our facilities. Yes. So that's already there with relation to the service centre and the museum. With the wharf and the library, I'm sure we can work with Smoke-Free Canterbury and the other groups we work with to negotiate a voluntary approach to that. We've had a lot of success. Along with the cycling, actually, we are recognised nationally for our extension over our smoke-free and public places policy and the way we're going about it. So if you would like us to set up some meetings, we could do that. Yeah,
we'd love that. We'd love that discussion. The issue that we have got is that would a cruise ship person, would a tourist actually know what smoke-free actually meant? So we need to perhaps convey that in the appropriate
Yeah,
manner
and I think
to
we
our
need
town.
to communicate with the cruise lines. So when, you know, a cruise ship berths, passengers receive several announcements, so that could be just part of, the understanding when they come into Christchurch, Littleton, Akawa, that, these policies exist.
Okay, thank you. And thank you very much indeed. We've just...
Oh, I had one question, Vicky.
Sorry. Oh,
Can you hear me? Yep. Cool. So I just wanted to check
sorry, Yanni.
on 6.3. It's reported that one of the deputations asked that all unlicensed structures on the wharf be removed. I wasn't quite clear from Pam's presentation whether that is being done. And I also just wanted to clarify whether that's a decision that the board makes or whether that's a decision for council management.
Yeah, and I think that this was a recommendation that the board made, and it was up to the council to implement it. And it wasn't the one that I was referring to in my presentation here this morning. This is a much larger issue that we have got with the Black Cat and the users of the wharf. So it's going through a process, and the board has recommended that all of those structures that are not, those structures that are illegal, that haven't been consented, be removed from the wharf. We haven't actually heard back from Black Cat how they received that information, but that was the decision that was made, and we need to work through that now.
Okay.
So can we just clarify, is it up to the community board to take that sort of enforcement action or decision, or is that something that council management should be doing?
It's council. We're not doing it. Council are doing it. Council staff are enforcing it.
And have you had a response from our council staff? Do we have a time frame for them enforcing it?
I'm not aware of a time frame, but it is being enforced. I'm aware that it's being enforced.
Right, okay. Right. Very last question, Phil, because we're over time.
No, it's not a quick, you may have well have been going to say this too, Vicky, but I just want to thank Pam and the board, especially for the support and your communities of our heritage buildings. No, just so much adds to the quaintness, and I'm sorry we can't come to the opening. I think we've got other meetings on, Pam. But clearly your and just when you go to Akaroa, it stands out. So
Thank you.
It's great work on the board's behalf and the community.
Thank you.
Okay. So we moved Tim, seconded Anne. I'll put the report. Those in favour please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed carried. And welcome back to Anne.